Hello. And how are my kids doing? Anyway, I just feel like talking about something really quickly. A couple of things that I just want to talk about. I was looking at a couple of videos and the Brat. So I guess it's a recent show that she did with, was it The Breakfast Club? I don't know. It was an interview with the Brat and, was it Judy? And talking about how there were threats against their child because she had chosen a white donor instead of a black donor. And so there were a lot of threats against her child. At first I was thinking, like, why did she have to tell anybody who the donor was? Why couldn't she just carry the baby and not say anything? But, eventually people are going to see what the baby looks like, and they're going to clearly see that that baby is biracial. If the baby don't look mostly white, you know what I mean? Like Meghan Markle, right? Or like, somebody else who pretty much look white passing, And so they're going to eventually see what that child looked like. So you would have said something. But my thing is this. The Brat don't owe the black community a black baby. The black community doesn't deserve for the Brat to be loyal to black men's sperm. The black community does not deserve the Brat to be loyal to the black man and use his sperm to carry a child. Or the black community and use the black man's sperm to carry a child. She don't owe the black community that. She does not owe the black community that. And Judy was talking, and Judy wanted Brat to explain more why the white man was chosen, why the white man's sperm was chosen. And it was because she had a list of 7 things. Judy had a list of 7 things that she wanted, 7 qualities that she wanted. And when it came back, you know how you filter something, like if you should go look for something online or whatever it is, and you try to choose a filter and you say you want all these things, and then after you choose all these things, after you hit search, after you put those things in the filter, at first it was about 1,000, but when you put all the things that you wanted to the filter, now you get down to about 150. So that's how it was with how Judy was explaining it at the. I think she was interviewed with the Breakfast. No, it wasn't the Breakfast Club. It was some other guy, but I never heard of him before. But it was a light skinned guy who was interviewing, not DJ Envy. This is a different guy I've never seen before. Thin, looked like he might be 5'9" to 6 feet. I don't know, but a guy that I never seen before was interviewing them, and And she said after she put in those 7 things and they narrowed it down to choose, there were no black men who came up. There were white men, and there were probably maybe Asian men if Asian men choose to, I don't think they donate. I think they can sell their sperm at sperm banks, or whoever, Indian, whoever, with Asian, as far as Chinese Asian, Japanese Asian, Korean Asian, and then Indian, stuff like that. And or whoever, but it wasn't any black men, no black men. And so I was listening to the person who was reacting to the Brat's interview, the Brat and her wife's interview with that guy, and I was listening to the lady. It was a black lady who was reacting to the interview. And the black lady was acting like she was almost offended that they did not choose a black man. Why does she need to choose a black man? I don't understand. And I get they wanna say it's colorism because you didn't want a dark skinned child. I'm gonna be honest with you. My initial thought was, okay, it's pedigree. It's the pedigree. You want somebody. When I talk about DNA, I'm not talking about the dominant type of DNA that's in melanated people versus non-melanated. I'm talking about DNA as far as the kind of man or child that this is most likely going to be when choosing the correct donor. You know what I mean? And so that plays a big role into it too. This lady came up with a list of 7 things that she wanted. And when they narrowed everything down, there were no black men to choose from. So I'm not sure what her list was. But I'm talking about Judy, okay, the Brat's wife. When they narrowed everything down, there were no black men to choose from. But the black community still expect her to lower her standards and choose a black man anyway. That's the problem, right? That's the problem with the black community as it is. See, the black women, because it was a black woman that was reacting to the interview, who was so offended that the Judy and the Brat chose a white man's sperm. Why are black women offended? See, they want to see the issue I have with a lot of black women is they see the truth, but they want to believe that there's a whole lot of good, black men to choose from. That's what they would like to believe. I'm talking about United States of America. That's what they would like to believe. The problem with that is that it's not that they're not good. They're just not good for what the Brat and Judy is looking for. So she should not have to change her standards to make the black community happy. And she does not owe the black community a child that comes from the black man's sperm. She don't owe the black community that. There's a lot of kids that need attention in the black community that have 2 full black parents. And they're being neglected. So why, you know? So anyway, but my initial thought was like, okay, this was pedigree, like preferring the white man's sperm over the black man's sperm. You know, before she even explained that she had a list of 7 things, before she even explained that, my initial thought was it wasn't colorism, it's pedigree. It's pedigree. Anybody who got good sense can see what's going on with the black community. I said her choosing this white man's sperm has a lot to do with pedigree. That means you have a good idea of how your child is going to turn out. And you don't be playing around with these black men and they sperm. You know, and it's just what it is. Okay, it's time to start pretending that a lot of people can't see that. You know, you have some decent black men, but not all of them are going to the sperm bank, all right, or donating or selling their sperm or however they do it. Not all of them are going to the sperm bank, but you have a lot of good, you have a good pool of white men and other groups of men to choose from. Maybe they go to the sperm bank a little more often, you know. So anyway, now I want to get to this lady. I haven't watched the Sherri Shepherd show. I haven't, but I don't have a TV, so I never watched the Sherri Shepherd show. Okay. This lady is reacting to Sherri Shepherd's show, and she's giving her opinion on why the Sherri Shepherd show was canceled. And she feels like the Sherri Shepherd show was canceled because she was calling women out and holding them accountable. And I didn't know. I had to see what she was talking about because I don't, you know, like I said, don't watch Sherri Shepherd. So I don't know if she was calling out women in a way to mule for black men, because sometimes when black women call black women out, they're muling for black men. They're wanting black women to completely lower their standards to suit the black man's ego. Okay, so I wasn't really sure how Sherri Shepherd was holding women accountable. Okay, and so I went on to listen, and I saw clips of Sherri Shepherd, right? And Sherri Shepherd was just talking about the way these young ladies dress. She was talking about the way Meg Thee Stallion dress and all these different women rappers. I guess Sexy Red and Meg Thee Stallion and different women talking about how they dress, how they don't wear clothes these days. They don't wear clothes. And something's wrong with that. I don't like that either. I don't want to go to Atlanta for that reason. I haven't been to Atlanta in years, but when I look on YouTube, and so many people who have moved to Atlanta, and when I see them out, black women ain't wearing no damn clothes. They are not wearing clothes. And I'm talking about these young black girls, Now, it's one thing to see Keisha in the hood who got her belly out and she just dressed like you can tell she come from the hood. That's one thing. It's a lot of young black girls that's not wearing clothes. They're like scantily clad. And so I get where she's coming from, but we're from a different generation. I think Sherri Shepherd is still from Generation X. She just was might have been born in the late 60s or something. Okay, I was born in the 70s. She might be like the early Generation X. I'm the late Generation X. I'm closer to the millennials. She closer to the boomers, I believe. Okay, but still, even me being late Generation X, closer to the boomers, yeah, we coming from a different generation. These girls don't wear clothes. And see, I didn't know because like where I live in like a more of a it's not a small town, it's a decent size. It has everything you need, but it's not like a big metropolitan area like Atlanta. I left Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for 10 years and I moved away from there, but I'm still in California, but I'm more in the valley. I'm more in the valley. But it's in an area where it's a decent size. It's not no big metropolitan area like Los Angeles. It's not like Atlanta. It's not like Manhattan, New York. It's not like that. But it's a decent size and has pretty much what you need. It has most of what the average person will need. Okay? So anyway, and when I go out, I don't see really women looking like that. Even black women, even when the black women who are not looking their best, like the ones that like kind of live in impoverished areas, even them, they're not looking horrible like that. They're not dressing all naked. They still cover themselves up a little bit. But when I see Atlanta, a lot of these young girls who live in Atlanta, young ladies who live in Atlanta, they're not wearing clothes. I was looking at a vlog of this lady, a young woman, looked like she might have been in her 20s. And she was living in her van. I don't know if she had an animal, but she was living in her van and she was on the thick side, not thick as in fat, because she didn't have any cellulite. She was thick though, but she didn't have any cellulite and she didn't have a big gut, right? But she was thick. Brown lady, black lady. And she came out with this tight little short jumpsuit on, but they were pajamas. And it was pretty short, tight. But they clearly were pajamas. And I forget what kind of store that she went into. It was like one of those type of rest stop type of stores where it's a gas station / rest. I guess you can take trucks and go there too. I don't know if you ever heard of a Love's, where it's like a truck stop, but it's people. I guess you can get gas there too, and it's more than a pit stop. I'm in California, so I say Love's, but I'm pretty sure you guys have that somewhere where it's those areas where they can stay. It's like a convenience store. They have a gas station, but it's a convenience store. But anyway, she stopped at one of those places, shopping for clothes, or just shopping around for things. And she got back in her van and she said that she didn't know why people were staring at her. She got in her van and said, "Why is everybody staring at me?" I was a little shocked that she didn't understand why people were staring at her. I was a little. You have on pajamas, and I read the comments to see what they were going to say, And the comment said, the reason they are staring at you is because you're wearing your pajamas. Like, how were these girls raised? And really, it's not even about how were these girls raised, because one person that I do look at sometimes on YouTube, I've seen her and her mother, right? Her and her mother used to be on YouTube together. And her mother don't dress like that. And her mother don't look like she raised her to dress like that. So sometimes you can't always blame the mothers or the parents on how these kids turn out, because social media and the world is really influencing them a whole lot more. When these kids grow up to be a certain age, they are influenced by the environment, social media, way more than the parents are influencing them. You know. But anyway, that's just how these ladies are dressing nowadays. They're not wearing clothes. You know. So Sherri Shepherd just kept talking about how they're not putting on clothes. They're not wearing clothes. And it was a clip after clip after clip of seeing Sherri Shepherd talking about how these women dress. They're just not leaving anything to the imagination anymore. They're just like letting everybody see everything they have.